And just the more I look at it, the proof of work chain, unless there's some crazy organic demand, it's just going to, I don't want to say it's going to die, right? I think it's going to die in its current state. I think it needs to die, like literally, like basically die and then be reborn as like, we need to rebuild all of DeFi, or at least like rebuild the state, you know, not necessarily rebuild all the contracts and all of the work that's been done, because from my understanding, all of the contracts can still stay, right? Like you can still have, this is not like a new kind of ecosystem that you have to build everything from scratch. It'll all still be there, but like the state basically needs a hard reset, right? So in a sense, that can be a good thing, right? Like you have the opportunity as the people that believe in that chain to rebuild everything from scratch and to set the norms, to build, you know, kind of like a societal culture on chain the way that you wanted to, right? With new systems, with, you know, they can basically rebuild like Maker and, you know, all these kinds of things with all the learnings that we've had the past, you know, few years. From DeFi and from all the other ecosystems, all the other L1s that launched as well, right? So there is an actual opportunity there. If people want to go in and build something from scratch, basically say like, look, if we had the opportunity to do Ethereum over, right? Like we kind of have that now, because everything is going to go to zero. You're going to have block space. It's going to be super cheap. The actual asset is going to be super cheap. Like you can, it's kind of an ideal like play area, you know? If you want that, but it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of smart people to actually build stuff that's valuable. And they're going to want to abide by those values, right? Of proof of work, having an L1 that's, you know, secured by miners, running this hardware, rather than, you know, proof of stake, which is basically supported by everybody in the community. Or at least, you know, massive swaths of people, and the most notable people, including the founder. So it's going to take a massive effort, but it's there if somebody wants to do it, right? If somebody believes that strongly in proof of work at the base layer, like you really have a massive golden opportunity in front of you.
Yeah.
That's my rant.
I mean, it's amazing, right? Because you look at these projects like, I think the closest parallel would be Cosmos shared security, where like the way that the Atom token accrues value is that developers are going to set up their own blockchains called Cosmos zones, and then they're going to get their security from the existing Cosmos validator set, who can, so, you know, they're validating the parent chain of like Cosmos Hub, but they can also validate child chains. Same thing with subnets, supernets, right? You have kind of an interesting parallel here where like that hash power does exist, right? Like you sort of don't have to worry about bootstrapping the security. You just have to like worry about whether or not they're going to get paid enough to do it, right? It's pretty interesting. So I guess related to that, right? And related to like how are they going to pay developers to like build cool stuff on proof of work ETH? There was a proposal from the proof of work ETH community, and this is wild. So they're reversing EIP 1559, and they're going to give the funds instead of getting burned, they're going to send the ETH that you use for your transaction to a multi-sig, which is controlled by, I guess, Justin Sun, and like everybody, and like members of the ETH proof of work community. And they're going to use that for developer incentives. What do you think?
On the face of it, not the worst idea, right? Like, why burn the token when you can actually use it for public goods, right? This is all about public goods funding anyways,
public
right?
goods funding.
Like Justin Sun is the OG public goods fundor. So yeah, you know, man, all these guys that, you know, Gitcoin and all this stuff, doing all this hand waving, Justin Sun is out here making moves. I don't know, man. I just think that if if Vitalik had made this proposal, people would be all over it. People would be like, "Yo, this guy is a hero. Give him the Nobel Prize for economics and for peace." You know, like
I mean, that's what like, people did for optimism, right? Where like optimism fees are going to public goods funding, and literally they're like, "All right, I'll take my Nobel Prizes now."
Yeah.
Can we get one in
much,
physics for solving the public goods funding problem?
For solving MEV and public goods funding.
Their solution to MEV is they collect it all.
Yeah, pretty much, and they spend it how they want.
The DAO's gonna vote, man. As soon as they figure out this Citizen House situation. But
shout out Joanna. You don't listen
shout
to
out
the podcast
Joanna.
anyway, so you know you're not gonna catch this. But hey, shout out anyways. So I think that it sounds like a great proposal, honestly.
You think so?
No, obviously not. It's not gonna go well at all. This is a way for Justin Sun to enrich himself if he's the one in charge. But
let's say hypothetically, like, it works out well. So there's a multi-sig, and the people that are in charge of it have their incentives aligned to fund new projects building on proof of work Ethereum. Okay. Does that change your like analysis of it? Like, say it's not just Justin Sun controlling all the keys. Like, say it actually is like a group of people that are signing off on high quality projects to get built.
No, my whole like facetious like first, like my whole facetious first 90 seconds was like only half facetious. I actually think it's a good idea. You know, like I get the idea of burning tokens, but I don't really get the idea of burning tokens, if I'm being honest.
So here's where it falls apart for me. Is like they collect some ETHW, right, and they use it for developer incentives. What's the first thing that the developer does with that ETHW?
No, they sell it.
They sell it, yeah. And so it's a little bit like the post ICO bubble phase, when like all of these projects that raised money denominated in ETH had to sell it, and it just like depressed the price like pretty badly. That's, I think, where that's my primary concern. Most people's primary concern is, wait, what? A multi-sig's getting all the gas fees? What? Like, this seems like pretty dangerous. But yeah, from a crypto economics perspective, right? Like you got, you know, that's the point of burning, right? Is it like decreases the supply, as opposed to like sending all of the gas fees to miners, which is how it was set up before, who were just like natural sellers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to game the price, to be honest. Like, if we're just calling it what it is, like, it's a way to pump the price of ETH long term. But I don't know, like, I think it's a cool experiment. I also think for sure, like, guaranteed, if the Gitcoin guy has made this proposal or Vitalik made this proposal, it gets received completely differently, and people are fully all over it. Even I think now that looking back, I just think that there was such a fervor for like anything that would pump the price at that time, and anything that Vitalik supported, and really that still exists. But really, just thinking about it, if he had made this proposal instead of EIP 1559, I think it would have been received the exact same way. Like, very well. People would be like, this is fantastic. Like, Ethereum is so forward looking. This is the future of humanity. I mean, that's what the optimism guys say about themselves anyways. But, you know, I think that's what everybody would have said about Vitalik, or the whole Ethereum Foundation, and, you know, whoever proposed this.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but I think you're completely right. None of this was financial advice, legal advice, investment advice, or any other kind of advice. If you're looking for advice, you are definitely in the wrong place. Until next time, stay decent.